What if I told you that today you're going to learn an AI automation that is so powerful you can start using it yourself tomorrow and build skills that clients would pay for? Out of all of the AI automations I've been selling to clients, what I'm going to show you today makes people who think they know how to use ChatGPT redefine what's possible within ChatGPT. In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to create an AI automation that works within ChatGPT and is being triggered from ChatGPT using make.com, CustomGPTs, and Actions. Imagine pulling live news, selecting the best ones, and then saving them directly to a specific spreadsheet, all without lifting a finger or ever leaving ChatGPT. It is so simple and it's mind-blowing. Ready to build something that you can actually sell? Let's go. In our last video, we learned how to use a get method to pull news articles with Make. This time, we are stepping it up. I'll teach you how to integrate webhooks directly into ChatGPT, pull articles from an API, and save them to a Google Sheet using a post method. We'll use tools like CustomGPTs, text aggregators, and some clever schema designs. If that sounds complicated, don't worry, I will break down everything for you. Oh, and did I mention I've created a custom GPT to help you every step of the way? Grab it using the link below. Let's dive in. First, let's define what a webhook is. A webhook is essentially a way for one application to send real-time information to another. Think of it like a doorbell. When something happens, it rings and sends a notification. In this case, Make will act as the doorbell, sending updates directly to ChatGPT. Open my webhook integration guide GPT and follow the first step. Create a webhook in make.com. So I'm going here and I've created a new scenario and let's name it fetch news and save to sheets. Great. Next, we are going to add an HTTP make a request module. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add here, and as for the URL, I'm just going to go back to my previous scenario, which is this one. And just to give you a quick summary of this API, I'm going to paste it here. And what it does, it will go to News API, which is this one. Then it will go to this endpoint, which is everything, and it will fetch all of the articles related to this search term. Also, you will need your API key. In this case, it's here. It's one of the parameters, and we have a few more parameters in here. For example, we have the page size, which means that it's going to limit the amount of article. It fetches to 4. And in addition, we also want to choose the from date just to make it quicker. I'm going to copy that from the previous video, from the previous scenario. So I'm going to add a new, here under a new query string, a new item. The name is going to be the from. As for the value, it's going to be the last 7 days. So I'm going to take today's date, which is now. I'm going to reduce 7 days, and then I'm going to format it to the following format: year, month, and date. In addition, we also need to add a header. So I'm going to just copy the header from our previous module, which is the content type, and we are going to choose application format. So just to give you a very quick summary, if you want to get into all of the details, check the previous video because I really went into details with everything. But when you're using an API, you need the base URL, you need an endpoint, which means it goes to all of the articles in the news API, and then we have here all of the settings, all of the parameters, like the search term we want to use. We have our unique API key, and we have a few other parameters. Then below, we want to add another parameter, which is the date, because we don't want to just get all of the possible articles out there. We want to choose from a specific date, so we are going to choose the last 7 dates. And in addition, we need to add to the header how the data will be sent. So in this case, we are using JSONs, and we spoke about it in the previous video, but we are going to use JSON. So it's very important that you use here under the header, the content type, and the value is application/JSON. Lastly, we want to set the method to get because we are retrieving data from the news API. Think of get as the way to fetch information from an external source. Okay, so now let's test this module. I'm going to right click and click run this module only. And we can see here that we're getting an output, we're getting data. So we are getting here a lot of articles. We're actually getting 4 articles because we set that up to 4 articles. Now we need to parse the JSON data. What does that mean? When we receive data from the API, it's in a raw format. Let me show you here. You can see under data, this is a raw format. Parsing it allows us to extract specific details like the article title, description, the URL, so we can use them in our scenario. Add the JSON parsing module. So I'm going to type JSON, parse JSON, perfect. And here, JSON string, we need to choose the data from the previous module and we can click OK, perfect. Next, we'll use a text aggregator module. This module helps us organize the parsed data into a clean, readable format. So let's add it. So I'm going to search for text aggregator. Perfect. Okay, now let's organize everything. So first of all, I want to choose the previous module, the JSON, the parsed JSON. Under text, let's do something like this. I'm going to type 1. I'm going to put title, then I'm going to put here description, and I'm going to let's put URL. Okay, so here in our text, so now I want to choose we're not seeing the previous module. Why we're not seeing? Okay, because we need to run it. So let's run this module only. And as for data, let's go back to our HTTPS first, and we are going to copy the data. And this happens because we are not running the full scenario. We are just running specific modules. So I just copied the data from the HTTP in our JSON. If you recall, we set that here to show data. So when I'm going to click run this module, we need to manually paste the data that we are getting in the HTTP make a request module. And then let's see if it works. In the output under articles, you can see it's very clean and nice. It's very easy to manage. Just to compare in our HTTP module, this is the way it was looking. So if I go back to data, it was very raw. So here it's easier to manage. Now we can go back to tools, and here we can, since we already ran the previous module, the parse JSON module, we can go to articles. And now let's map our title. So here I'm putting the title, then I'm putting the description, and then I'm putting the URL. Now here's the thing, let me save it. If you recall here, let's run it again. We can see the articles, and you can see it separated into different articles. So you can see the article number 1, article number 2, article number 3. We want to retrieve specific articles from here, and we want to organize it in a very clean way where it will be shown like this. Let me show you. I'm going to change it to 2 and 3. And then we're going to see 3 articles, each one of them with its own title, URL, and description. So what we need to do inside of here, you can see here these square brackets. We can put the number that we want to retrieve from the previous module. So I'm putting 1, 2, and 3. If it sounds a bit of confusing, I highly recommend you going back to our previous video because we explained that in detail. But this is what we're doing at the moment. We're just putting here, we are referring to specific articles from the previous module. So we can see here 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one. The goal here is to make the data easy to consume, whether it's sent to ChatGPT or saved elsewhere. Finally, we use a webhook response module to send the aggregated text back to ChatGPT. This is how we close the loop. We fetch the data, process it, and then send it back to a user-friendly format. So I'm going to add here webhook, and you'll have here already the webhook response. And now we need to choose for the body the previous module, the text aggregator, and choose the text. So it will pull the text from here and send it back to our webhook in case that the status is 200, which means success. Okay, now let's go to the webhook integrator guide and let's click Let's Start. And the first step is going to be create a custom webhook, and we already did that, so I'm going to click Done. And now basically it's going to ask us, are you going to use a post method, a get method, or both? So basically, if you're just pulling data into ChatGPT, you can choose get. If you also want to post information, for example, to send it to a spreadsheet, or you want to send it to your social media platforms, you need to use a post method. In our case, we're going to use both. I'm going to type here both. This way, it will know to create the schema, which is a piece of code that we are going to use later when we create our custom GPT schema action. We are going to paste that in there. Great. So the next step is going to be pasting your webhook URL, and you need to paste a screenshot or a description of the response body you're going to send back from Make to ChatGPT. So if I go back here, the first thing I need to do is grab my, okay, so let's create a new connection. We forgot to do that. And let's name it Fetch News and Post to Spreadsheet. And let me just type here drop me so I can later remove that. And now I'm going to copy the address. Let's go back to our custom GPT. And the next thing we need to do is to copy the body of our webhook response. I'm just going to take here a screenshot of the module. I'm going to here, and let's send that. Great. So you can see here it says, thank you for providing the webhook URL and send the response details. Based on the screenshot, it seems the get response body contains a single key, the text, which means that you're sending only one key back from Make. So just to have an overview of what is happening here, we are using a webhook from ChatGPT. It will trigger this scenario that fetches news and eventually sends that back to ChatGPT through a webhook response, and it's going to be this text key. So if I go back here, it says it contains a single key. Let me draft the OpenAI schema for the get method. And here is the schema. So we are getting here a complete schema, and it already moves to the post. We are going to get that in a second. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to create a new custom GPTs. Let's click here, create. And if this is your first time, then it's very simple. You go here to create, and this is like the simplest way. You need to get better at advanced prompting so you can get better results with it. But here it will ask you, what is the goal of your custom GPT? What is the target? So you can go here through the instructions and says, I want to fetch articles, get method and make.com. And you can give all of the instructions here and it will create that for you. But just to make things faster, I'm going to go to configure and I'm just going to copy a prompt that I already created before making this video. So I already have here these instructions. If you want the full instructions, then check the link below. I'm going to give everything away. So you can see here the instructions. You have the role. You are an AI assistant that fetches and saves news articles related to AI based on your input. Your role involves interacting with a webhook to retrieve the latest news and save with the post method user selected articles. Here we have some clarifications, the steps it needs to take. So you have the full, if you want the full prompt, you can check the link below. So what I'm going to do next, what is very important, hold on, let's name that. Let's name this drop me fetch news and post to sheets. Description, I'm just typing here test. It will be here the description. And now the conversation starters, we can put something like fetch news. Perfect. So let's move forward, and this is where the magic happens. I'm going to click create a new action, and this is where we are going to paste the schema we got earlier here when we gave that our webhook and the webhook response. So this is our schema. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to paste that. If I scroll down, you should see here that it says get and test. So what we are going to do now, we are going to test our action. I need to go back to make.com and click run once. Now it's listening and it's waiting for the webhook to be triggered. So I go back, here, and I'm going to click test. Now it should ask us here a question. You can see here, we are going to click always allow. And if I go back to make, great. We can see here it's triggering. We can see here that everything seems to work fine. If I click here, I can see the body, which is basically what was sent to ChatGPT. So the first article seems to be removed from the news articles. The second one is this one, and the third one is this one. And I'm going back now to my CustomGPT, and look what happened. Within ChatGPT, I'm getting these 3 articles. So I did not have to leave. Here are the latest article news. Okay, so it seems that the one that was removed, it's not even showing here, so that's fine. And you can see here that without leaving ChatGPT, I'm fetching news inside to my custom GPTs, which is insane. Okay, now we want to post and send basically these articles, the one that I love, the one that I choose, send it to a spreadsheet. Another use case could be, for example, pulling leads from one platform like Monday, analyzing them on ChatGPT, asking whatever questions, and then send the leads that you want to follow up with to like a spreadsheet for your sales team to do it. There are endless ideas of why would you like to pull data and then push that to another platform. So let's see what is the next step using our custom GPT here. So here we have the post request. It asks us to paste the same webhook URL here if it's the same, if we are accessing the same scenario. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to click copy the address, and I'm going to paste it here. And now it wants us to define the fields that we are going to use through our post method. So first of all, I created a spreadsheet in advance, and this is our spreadsheet. You can see I named that automation fetch news demo. We have here the date, the title, description, and URL. So we have here 4 fields, and I'm just going to copy these 4 fields, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to paste these 4 fields. Also, I want to make sure that I define the date format, so I'm going to put the date format is YYY, and let's put M and then TT. Perfect. So let's send that and see what do we need to do next. Great, so we can see that it's working and it's preparing everything. So now we have a new schema, which is going to be a schema with a get method, but also a post method. Also, there is a very important note that I put somewhere in here. Hold on, let me find where it is. Here. So, okay, so I'll do it step by step. First of all, let's copy the schema, the new updated schema. I go back to my ChatGPT, and I'm going to go here to schema. I'm going to delete the old one, which might be scary, but if I paste it here, then you should see again now 2 methods. You have the get method and you have the post. So first of all, let's just make sure that everything works fine and do run once. We are going to go back to testing the first one just to make sure that we did not break anything. So now here we are going to click always allow, and I'm expecting to see here a few articles. Okay, so we can see the first article that was removed from the news website. We have the second one, and we should see in a second the third one. Let's see. Perfect. So it's working, it's pulling everything. Okay, now let's go back to our custom GPT, and we can see here a very important message to include in our prompt. We want to put a JSON for the prompt to know exactly what is the expected result to be sent. So let me show you here. If I go back to my custom instructions, I already have it in here. So I'm going back down here, and you can see here that I already have an example. Hold on, let me go a little bit of up, And hold on. Yes, so we have here, so you see here it says, once the news is fetched, display the article in a clear instruction format. Each article should be this format. And then it's going to ask us which article we want to save. And after that, it's going to trigger a post action via webhook to save the user's selected article. Include the following fields in the body. So I'm letting it know what are the fields, the exact fields that I want to include in the body. It's very important. So we need to define that in our prompt. So what we need to let it know when we are triggering a post, these are the fields to include. And also, I'm using some examples, as you can see here. So you can see the fetch news, and here's the JSON. You can see an example to our JSON. So what you need to do, you just need to copy the JSON here. You should put in your prompt an instruction letting it know that whenever a post method is being triggered, you want to set a JSON with specific fields, and then you can use an example. So that way you're making sure that you will get exactly what you want to send. Great. So now we need to actually create our scenario for the post method. So I'm going to my spreadsheet that I already created. And what I'm doing here, I'm going to copy the URL, the unique ID of this spreadsheet. So it comes after the d/. You will see this unique ID that ends here before the edit. So I'm going to copy that. And now I'm going back to make. And what we want to do next, let's break this, let's unlink this webhook, and we need to actually add a router. So a router will basically just route the, here, let's delete this one, delete module and delete module. And this will actually route the scenario to two directions. So the first one is going to be our get method to get here the news, but we need to add another one for our posting method. So I'm going to choose Google Sheets, and I'm going to choose add a row. So I want to add a new row to our spreadsheet. Now, search method, I'm going to search by, you can do select by path, which is absolutely fine. I'm just going to go to select from all, and because we already copied the spreadsheet ID, I'm going to click here ID Finder. I'm going to click here the spreadsheet ID, and let's see if you find it. Yeah, we have here sheet name, which is the sheet name here. So we found that perfectly. And if you scroll down, you will see that under values, you have date, title, description, and URL. So basically, because we connected the right spreadsheet, it knows to bring the right titles from here. So now, here you will see them under values, the first column, the second column, the third one, and the fourth one. What we will need to do is once the post method is being triggered and we get from ChatGPT the article that we like, the date, the title, and the description, we want to map it to here so it will be saved to our specific spreadsheet. So for now, let's close this one, let's save that. Now, I want to basically redetermine this data structure of this webhook. So I'm going to click redetermine data structure. Now we go back to ChatGPT because we need to, let me show you. If I want to here to map the fields and I go to my, you can see my webhook doesn't show anything. So we need to make sure that we have the structure inside of our webhook module. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click here, redetermine data structure. I'm going back to ChatGPT. I'm scrolling down and I go back to our existing action that we created, and it should have here the get, which we already tested, and the post. So let's do it again for a second. I'm going to click here, test, and I'm expecting to get here some articles. And if we go back to make, we can see that it was successfully determined. Now, would you like to perform another operation and show me the articles? Because now we need to redetermine with the post structure, data structure. So we are getting here the articles, and now I'm going to say, Let's wait for a second. Great. Now it is asking us, which article would you like to save? Please specify the number or the title. So I'm going to choose, let's do the second one because the first one was removed. And now I want to go back here, click redetermine data structure. So we can redetermine with our post method. So I'm clicking 2 and starting soon. Let's click complete, confirm, and great. This article was the article mother of blah, 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 blah has been saved successfully. Would you like to save another one? Okay, so it won't be saved yet because we need to basically complete our scenario. But if I go back here, we can see that it was successfully determined. I'm going to click OK. And now if I go here to our Google Sheet module, I'm expecting to see here, you can see we are seeing now the fields because they were sent by the post trigger we did earlier, by the post request. So here I'm going to map everything, date with date, title with title, description with description, and URL with URL. I'm going to click OK. Great. So now I'm expecting that whenever we send an article, it's going to go through the router and into the Google Sheet, and it's going to map the fields through the JSON that is being sent. So let's do it again. It asks us if we want to save another article. So now let's do run once and say, let's save article number 3. So now let's see what happens. Let's click confirm. The article has been saved successfully. Let's go to here and we can see that it was complete. We can see here one operation under the Google Sheet module. And if I go to my spreadsheet, look what happened. We need to fix the format here of this field. So we can just go to numbers and change it to a date. There is no short date here. Yeah, I think it's this one. Okay, so you can see here that the article we just chose was sent from ChatGPT to make.com and then to our spreadsheet. So it's saving it here, so it works perfectly. So everything looks great. We are getting articles, we are fetching articles using the get method, and then we are saving them to our spreadsheet with our post method. There's one more thing we need to do because we are using both of these methods in the same scenario. So we need to use a filter in our router to send the, because let me show you, we don't want to waste operations all over here. So we want to send the get method whenever it happens through the first scenario, and in case that it's the post method, we want to send it to the Google Sheet one. So the way to do that, we are going to add a filter to each one of these rows. So the first one, it's the get one. You know what? Let me start from the post. It's going to be easier to understand. So I'm going to right click here. I'm going to set up a filter. We can name it post method, for example. Under condition, I'm going to choose one of the fields here, for example, the title. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, whenever the title exists, whenever there is a value in the title, it means that we used a post method because we are sending data through the webhook using the post method. So it's going to navigate to this one over here. And to the other one, because it's not enough to do that. We need to set up the filter also to the get method. And so I'm going to click here, set up a filter. I'm going to type here get method. And here I'm going to add another condition that whenever the title does not exist, so whenever it's null, it does not exist, it will understand that this is the get method and will go to this part of the scenario. So let's run a quick test. I'm going to click run once. I'm going to go back here and we can actually create our custom GPT. Let's do here only me. Let's save that. So I'm going to show you how it works in real life. Let's go here to our custom GPT and I'm going to click fetch news. So you can see here that we got our custom GPTs, fetch news, and look what happened. Here are the latest news. So it's pulling all of the news. If I go to here, then you can see that the Google Sheet path did not fire. You can see here, if I zoom in, you will see that the filter, okay, worked here. You can see that this one was true, and here it was false because we used the get method. Now, let's do run once again. And I'm going back here, and it asks which article would you like to save. So let's choose number 2. And now I'm expecting, if I go to make, that it will go through this path. Let's see if it works. We might need to click here confirm. Let's see. Yeah, we need to click here confirm, and let's see what happens. Okay, you can see here it's going through this path. So we have one operation, and here you don't see any operations. If I go to my spreadsheet, then you can see it was you can see another article was added over here. Boom. And that is it. This is one of the most mind-blowing automations that you can build and sell. It's insane. People who think they know how to use ChatGPT will rethink what they think about themselves after seeing you using an automations from within ChatGPT. If you want the full prompt that I've showed you here, you want the scenario, you want everything, check the link below. I'm giving everything away, and I hope you find it useful. See you in the next video.